God knows your exhaustion. And I'm not talking about the kind of tired a quick nap can solve. I'm speaking of the soul-deep, bone-heavy, hidden battle kind of weariness. The weight that clings to you even when your face shows a smile and your hands stay busy. You carry loads no one else notices. You shed tears no one else hears. You walk through storms no one else can see. And though the world demands strength from you day after day, inside you quietly ask God, how much longer can I hold on? There come seasons when the burden feels too heavy to bear. You arrive at the end of your own strength. Your prayers seem to echo back without answer. You wait, and nothing appears to shift. You plead for response, but only silence meets you. You reach out, yet it feels as though God is distant. But I speak to you today with every ounce of faith in my soul. God sees you. God knows you're hurt. God understands your fatigue. And God has not overlooked you. You may not witness His hand at work, but trust that He is moving. When the nights are long and the pain is deep, God is working behind the scenes. When you feel like you have nothing left, God is still pouring out His strength. When you are crying on your pillow and no one knows, God collects every tear. He is not blind to your struggle, and He is not deaf to your prayers. The silence of God does not mean the absence of God. The silence of God does not mean the absence of. You must learn to pray even when it hurts. You must learn to trust even when you don't understand. You must learn to wait when your soul is screaming for answers. This is not weakness. This is strength. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes strength is the quiet decision to keep going, to keep trusting, to keep believing that God is still in control. There is a reason God allows us to feel this tiredness. Sometimes God will allow the storm to rage to teach us that peace is not found in calm waters, but in trusting Him during the chaos. Sometimes God will let everything fall apart to show us He is the only one holding us together. God does not promise us a life free of burdens, but He promises that His power is made perfect in our weakness. And that weakness you feel, it is the very doorway through which God will pour His strength. God is never late. He is never distracted. He is never unsure. He is not pacing the floors of heaven wondering what to do about your situation. He has already seen the end from the beginning. He already knows how your story ends. And even though it may feel like you are walking through the valley alone, God is walking beside you. Every breath you take in the middle of your pain is a testament to the strength He is giving you to endure. When you are tired, pray. Not because prayer changes everything instantly, but because prayer anchors your soul to the one who never changes. Prayer is not always about answers. Sometimes it's about alignment. Sometimes God delays the breakthrough to deepen your faith. Sometimes God says, wait, not because He is withholding something from you, but because He is preparing something greater for you. You see, there is power in the waiting. Waiting on God is not wasted time. Waiting is where trust is refined. Waiting is where character is built. Waiting is where pride is stripped away. In the waiting, you are not being punished. You are being positioned for a greater glory, a deeper faith, and a more unshakable trust in God. The world may rush you. People may forget you, and your mind may betray you. But God remains steady. God remains faithful. The tiredness you feel today is not the end of your journey. It is a turning point. It is a sign that something in you is being stretched. Something in you is growing. God uses the weariness to bring you to your knees, not to destroy you, but to remind you where your true strength comes from. When you reach the end of yourself, you have reached the beginning of God's power. Do not let your tiredness make you forget who your God is. God is the sustainer of the weak. God is the healer of the broken. God is the restorer of the worn out. You may feel empty, but He is full. You may feel lost, but He knows the way. You may feel forgotten, but He has written your name on the palm of His hand. Even when you can't trace His hand, you can trust His heart. Your feelings may lie, your thoughts may falter, your body may fail, but God is unchanging. He has never abandoned you before, and He won't start now. The night may be dark, but the dawn is coming. You are not stuck. You are being shaped. You are not abandoned. You are being anointed. God has not turned His face from you. He is closer now than ever before. Do not give up because you are tired. Get closer to God because you are tired. Fall into Him. Cry to Him. Speak to Him. Even if all you can say is, "Help me," that prayer whispered from the depth of your soul shakes the heavens. God does not require eloquence. He requires sincerity. He does not demand perfection. He responds to faith, and faith is not always loud. It's the quiet decision to keep praying, to keep trusting, to keep waiting. Some of you are carrying weights that were never yours to carry. You are trying to be everything for everyone, trying to solve every problem, trying to hold your life together in your own strength. But God did not create you to be the savior of your world. God wants you to surrender that burden to Him. Lay it at His feet. Let Him carry what you cannot. He is not asking you to figure it all out. He is asking you to trust Him while He does. Your breakthrough may not come today. Your answer may not show up tomorrow. But every time you choose to pray instead of panic, trust instead of tremble, and wait instead of worry, you are planting seeds of faith. And in due season, God will bring the harvest. He will show you why you had to wait. He will reveal the reason behind the silence. He will make all things beautiful in His time. Even when your knees are trembling and your hands are shaking, stand firm in your faith. God has never failed, not once, and He won't start with you. You may be tired, but you are not defeated. You may be weak, but you are not worthless. You may feel broken, but you are still in the hands of the potter. And the hands of God do not destroy. They rebuild, they reshape, they wreck. So pray. Even if your voice is trembling, pray when you don't feel like it. Pray when your heart is heavy. Pray when you feel like giving up. Because prayer connects you to the power that is greater than anything you face. When you pray, you are declaring that God is still in control. When you pray, you are making war in the spiritual realm. When you pray, mountains begin to tremble and chains begin to break, even if you can't see it yet. And after you've prayed, wait, don't run ahead of God. Don't try to force what only He can fix. Waiting is not passive. It's active faith. It's trusting that the God who started a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. It's believing that even in the silence He is speaking. Even in the delay He is working. Even in the confusion He is bringing clarity. And while you wait, trust. Trust that God knows what He's doing. Trust that God sees what you can't. Trust that even the pain has a purpose. God is not wasting your suffering. He is using it to carve out a deeper well of wisdom, compassion, and strength inside of you. Every tear is watering the soil of your future. Every trial is preparing the path to your destiny. You may feel like you're in a season of silence, but God is still speaking. You may feel like you're in a season of delay, but God is still moving. You may feel like you're in a season of defeat, but God is preparing your victory. Do not let the enemy convince you that your weariness is a sign that God has left you. The enemy attacks the hardest when he knows God is about to do something great. The tension you feel is the stretching of your faith. The exhaustion you feel is the refining of your spirit. And soon, very soon, God will step in with power. He will make a way where there was no way. He will lift you up out of the pit. He will breathe life into your dry bone, because that is what God does. God restores. God revives. God renews. When all hope seems lost, God speaks a word and shifts everything. He doesn't need a crowd. He doesn't need applause. He only needs your faith. And your faith, no matter how small, is enough for God to move. You may be tired, but you are still chosen. You may be drained, but you are still called. You may be weak, but you are still being prepared. This tiredness you feel is not in vain. It is the process, and the process is proof that God is still working. He is the author of your story, and He writes with purpose. There is not a single sentence in your life that God does not use for your good. So press on, not in your own strength, but in the strength of God. Walk on not because the road is easy, but because the one who walks with you is greater than anything that stands against you. Speak to your soul and say, God knows, God sees, God cares, God is near. And let that truth be your anchor in every storm. Even when it's hard to believe, choose to believe. Even when it's hard to hope, choose to hope. Even when you feel like quitting, choose to stay. Not because of your own strength, but because of the unshakable truth that God has never lost a battle, not with anyone, not ever. And He will not lose with you. God knows you are tired, but He is not tired. He does not slumber. He does not grow weary. He holds the universe in His hands. And yet, He holds your heart with the same care. So rest in Him. Rest in His promise. Rest in His plan. Rest in His presence. And let your tired soul be renewed. Not by the removal of the storm, but by the realization that the God who calms the storm walks with you through it. You see, when your strength runs out, that is not the end. It is the threshold of divine power. That is where the natural ends and the supernatural begins. God does not require your perfection. He requires your surrender. God does not demand that you carry the weight of your world. He invites you to cast it upon Him. This is not weakness, it is wisdom. Wisdom to understand that your capacity has limits, but God is limitless. Your knowledge is partial, but God knows the full picture. And sometimes that tiredness in your soul is God's way of drawing you closer to His wisdom, His timing, His higher ways. There are moments when everything you built in your own strength will begin to crumble, not to destroy you, but to bring you to the foundation that cannot be shaken. God is not in the business of quick fixes and shallow comforts. God is in the business of transformation. When you are exhausted from carrying burdens that were never yours to bear, He doesn't just relieve you, He reshapes you. He removes what's unnecessary. He burns away what's temporary. He cuts away the distractions, the pride, the false dependencies, until all that remains is a vessel ready to be filled with His power. Yes, the waiting is painful. Yes, the silence can feel unbearable, but do not confuse the silence of God with the absence of God. Sometimes the silence is His strategy. Sometimes God steps back not to forsake you, but to strengthen you, to grow your faith, not by what you see, but by what you believe. It is in the darkness that trust is tested. It is in the delays that your devotion is refined. And in the stillness of the soul, God whispers the kind of truths that can only be heard when everything else is quiet. You may not understand why God hasn't answered your cry yet. You may feel like time is running out, that opportunities are slipping through your fingers. But understand this: God is never in a rush. God doesn't work according to human clocks. While you are watching the minutes pass, God is orchestrating eternity. While you are worried about what is slipping away, God is preparing what will never be taken from you. He is not just trying to give you relief. He is shaping your life into something eternal, something holy, something set apart. And if you could see what God is preparing in the invisible, you would stop doubting in the visible. If your eyes could catch just a glimpse of the angels He has assigned to walk with you, you would walk with boldness, even in the middle of your fear. If your ears could hear the conversations God has had about your destiny, you would stop comparing yourself to those around you and start honoring the journey He has handcrafted for you. There is no wasted moment in the hands of God. Not a single tear, not a single heartbreak, not a single moment of loneliness is overlooked. Every step you've taken in pain has been recorded by the one who watches over your soul. Every sleepless night has been seen by the one who neither slumbers nor sleeps. And He will repay you not just with comfort, but with purpose. Not just with blessings, but with clarity. God does not owe you anything. Yet in His mercy, He chooses to restore everything. But restoration only comes to those who trust the process. Not the comfortable process, not the predictable process, but the divine process. A process that often looks like struggle before it looks like success. A process that often feels like breaking before it feels like blessing. But make no mistake, God is the master craftsman. He does not make mistakes with His tool. If He allows the pressure, it is to purify. If He allows the delay, it is to develop. If He allows the pain, it is to prepare. This is the hour to remember that tiredness does not mean defeat. It means you are human. It means you care deeply. It means you have been trying, praying, enduring. But now it's time to stop striving in your own strength and start abiding in God's strength. It's time to stop rehearsing your fears and start declaring your faith. It's time to remember that God did not bring you this far to leave you now. You are still here. That is the proof. You have been through storms that should have drowned you. You have faced trials that could have crushed you, but you're still breathing, still standing, still seeking God. And that is not by accident. That is grace. That is power. That is divine intervention working silently on your behalf. The enemy tried to steal your hope, but God preserved it. The enemy tried to make you quit, but God sustained you. The enemy tried to isolate you in your pain, but God met you there and whispered, "You are not alone." And no, you don't have to have all the answers. You don't need to understand the plan in full. All God asks is that you trust Him with the next step. Not the whole journey, just the next step. You don't need to see the whole staircase. Just keep climbing. You don't need to map out the whole future, and just stay faithful where you are. That is trust. That is faith. That is surrender. So when your body is weak, let your spirit speak louder. Say to yourself, God is still my strength. When your mind is racing with doubts, let your soul declare, God is still in control. When you feel like quitting, cry out, God, carry me. He will, because He is not a distant force. He is an ever-present helper. He is not just watching from above. He is walking with you, dwelling in the moments you thought no one cared. And you may look around and think others have it easier. You may wonder why your road is harder, but your road is holy. Your struggle has weight because your calling has glory. Your pain is deep because your purpose is greater. And God is preparing you for what others cannot handle. Stop comparing your journey to those who were never meant to walk your path. God handpicked you for something sacred. Don't let fatigue rob you of that revelation. There is a holy fire being lit in the dark places of your soul, a fire that will not be extinguished by hardship, a fire that will not be drowned by despair. It is a fire of endurance, the fire of faith, the fire of spiritual authority that only comes from walking through the valley with God and discovering that He is enough. That is more than enough. You may not feel strong right now, but faith is not a feeling. Faith is a decision to believe when everything around you says it's over. A decision to hope when hope makes no logical sense. A decision to keep praying not because of what you see, but because of what you believe God will do. That kind of faith moves mountains. That kind of faith silences the lies of fear. That kind of faith invites God to do the impossible. So no, you don't need to have it all together. You just need to stay connected to the one who holds it all together. You don't need to pretend to be strong. You just need to stay close to the source of strength. You don't need to understand everything. You just need to trust the one who does. God never sleeps. God never gives up. God never changes. And when everything in your world is shifting, shaking, falling apart, God remains the solid ground. You can build your hope on Him. You can anchor your soul in Him. You can place your future in His hands, and you will not be disappointed. So pray, even when your voice shakes, even when your faith feels fragile, even when your prayers seem unanswered. Pray, because prayer is not merely conversation. It is communion. It is alignment. It is surrender. And in surrender, peace is found. Not because the struggles disappear, but because present within them. And wait, not with passivity, but with expectation. Wait, not with fear, but with confidence that God has already set in place what your eyes have yet to see. Wait, because His timing is more than just right. It is flawless. His delay is never rejection. It is divine design. And trust. Trust when the winds roar and the waters rise. Trust when companions fail and opportunities close. Trust when every part of you wants to run, to fix, to seize control. Trust that the same God who brought you this far has not led you here to forsake you, but to reveal His nature to you. God knows your exhaustion, and He is not disappointed in your fatigue. He is not upset by your weakness. He is near. He is ready. He is reaching toward you even now. Not with condemnation, but with compassion. Not with frustration, but with faithfulness. And if you reach back, if you give Him your tired soul, your broken dreams, your heavy heart, He will lift you. He will restore you. He will fill you again. Because God is not finished. God is still writing your story. And the chapter you're in may be hard, but it's not the last one. There is still purpose ahead. There is still joy ahead. There is still strength you've yet to walk in, blessings you've yet to see, and peace you've yet to feel. It's coming not because of your effort, but because of God's promise. And God always keeps His promises. There comes a point in every soul's journey when the darkness feels heavier than light, when the silence of the heavens feels louder than any shout, when the soul groans with words that can't be formed. That's not the end. That's the refining. That is where God meets you in ways that logic cannot explain. That is where faith matures, where trust is purified, and where you discover that God is not simply a refuge in times of ease, but a fortress in the hour of your greatest weakness. You learn that peace is not the absence of storms. Peace is the nearness of God while the storm rages on. You cannot measure God's presence by your emotions. Feelings are fleeting. They rise and fall like the tide. But the truth of God is constant. The truth is that He is always near to the brokenhearted. The truth is that God draws closer to the weary. The truth is that when you feel most abandoned, God is closest, carrying you through what you don't even realize would have crushed you without His grace. The battle you didn't see was already fought by the hand you didn't notice. That's how God works. Quietly, deeply, and always with purpose. And what is that purpose? To mold you, to shape you, to anchor you so deeply in faith that no wind can uproot you. God is not concerned with quick comfort. He is after unshakable faith. He is after hearts that will not bow to pressure, souls that will not surrender to discouragement, and minds that will not collapse under confusion. God strengthens those who dare to wait when it would be easier to run. He empowers those who remain still when the world screams for motion. 'Cause in that stillness, a voice greater than fear begins to rise. A voice that says, "Be still and know it that God is in control. That God is aware that nothing has escaped His notice. The long nights, the burdens carried silently, the moments of breakdown behind closed doors, God saw them all, and not a single second of your struggle will go unused. When you trust God, nothing is wasted. The pain becomes preparation. The delay becomes development. The silence becomes sanctification. This is where many turn back. When God doesn't move how they expected or speak when they demanded. But you, if you are to walk in the fullness of God's power, must go deeper beyond your expectations, beyond your deadlines, beyond your understanding. That's where true surrender lives. That's where real power is born. Not in knowing, but in trusting. Not in controlling, but in yielding. When you say, "Even though I don't see the way, I will walk by faith," you are no longer walking in your own strength. You are walking in alignment with the one who formed the path before you ever took a step. Many want the promise, but few are willing to endure the process. But if God allows you to wait, it is because He is forming a strength in you that cannot be taken away by time, by people, or by circumstances. That inner strength doesn't come from books, titles, or even experience. It comes from seasons of complete dependence on God. It is born in the fire of surrender. It grows in the soil of patience, and it shines in the darkness because it was forged in the absence of light. There are things God is doing in you right now that you don't even recognize. He is closing doors to protect you from what you would have chased. He is removing people who are only assigned for a temporary season. He is stripping away distractions to bring clarity to your purpose. Do not despise what you lose in this season, because what God takes away, He replaces with something eternal. You may mourn what is gone, but wait until you see what is coming. Your faith must be bigger than your frustration. Your hope must be louder than your doubt. And your trust in God must be stronger than your impulse to fix everything yourself. There is power in letting go. There is breakthrough in surrender. There is rest in simply saying, God, I trust you right here, right now, even when nothing makes sense. That prayer will do more for your future than all the plans you've drawn up in your own wisdom. And when God does move, when He opens a door, answers the prayer, lift the weight, there will be no question about where the glory belongs. It won't be your doing. It won't be your timeline. It won't be your strategy. It will be God completely, unmistakably, undeniably God. And you will look back on this season, this tired, quiet, trembling season, and you will thank Him for not giving you what you thought you needed because He gave you something far greater, Him. You may be tired, but you are not alone. You may feel weak, but the power of God is perfected in that weakness. You may be waiting, but the weight of that weight is pressing down gold inside of you. Faith that doesn't flinch, courage that doesn't crack, and a fire that doesn't go out. This is the making of a vessel that can carry divine purpose. So don't fear the silence. Lean into it. Don't run from the waiting. Settle into it. Don't resist the process. Yield to it. God knows exactly how to bring you out. And when He does, it'll be better than you imagined, deeper than you prayed for, and greater than what you were settling for. But He cannot bless who you pretend to be. He blesses those who trust Him as they truly are, tired, honest, broken, surrendered. The world tells you to hustle harder, to grind until you break, to push until something happens. But God says, come to me. Come to me when you're tired. Come to me when you're out of answers. Come to me when nothing is working. Come to me not as a last resort, but as your first response. God honors those who put Him above their own understanding, above their own strategy, above their own ambition. He will not let you be ashamed for trusting Him. He will not fail to reward the faith of those who wait on Him. His promises are not fragile. They are eternal. His hand is not weak. It is mighty. His plan is not failing. It is unfolding. And right now, even now, He is whispering into your weary soul, hold on. I am working. I am weaving. I am watching over you. The tears you cried in secret are known to God. The strength you gave when no one said thank you is remembered by God. The times you forgave, the times you held back your words, the times you chose peace over revenge, God saw them all. And He will reward you in His time, in His way. Let your tiredness bring you closer to God, not farther away. Let your fatigue become the fuel for a deeper reliance. Let your confusion become a call to press into the presence of the only one who truly knows the end from the beginning. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are exactly where God needs you to be to transform you into who He called you to become. And transformation is never painless, but it is always powerful. Trust that every step you take, even the ones you stumble through, are covered by the mercy of God. Every day you rise again despite feeling empty is proof that God is not done with you. You are still in His hand. You are still under His plan. You are still the object of His care. So lift your head not in pride but in confidence. Speak to your soul and declare that the one who formed the heavens is also forming your destiny. You are not stuck. You are stationed. You are not forsaken. You are being fortified. You are not forgotten. You are being fashioned into something glorious. Pray, wait, trust. These are not passive suggestions. They are spiritual weapons. Use them, hold them, cling to them, and watch what God will do. Because when you place your tiredness in His hands, He gives you rest. When you place your weight in His timing, He gives you direction. And when you place your trust in His character, He gives you peace that surpasses all understanding. And that peace, that holy peace, is worth more than anything the world could ever offer. That is the peace of knowing that no matter what comes, you are in the hands of God. And when you are in the hands of God, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. No season of darkness can keep you buried. No amount of pain can disqualify your purpose, because God is not finished. God is moving. God is about to reveal what all of this pain was preparing you for. And when He does, it will be glorious. There is a kind of strength that is born only in the valley. Not the strength of muscles or pride, but the strength of surrender. The kind of strength that looks up to the heavens and says, God, I cannot carry this another day without you. And God honors that. He honors the one who is bowed low in exhaustion, yet refuses to give up. He honors the soul that says, I don't understand, but I will still trust you. That kind of faith moves the heavens. That kind of heart captures the attention of God. Many think that divine favor always looks like prosperity and ease. But there is a deeper favor that often comes dressed in difficulty. It's the favor being chosen to walk through trials so that your faith may shine brighter than gold. It's the favor being hidden while others are celebrated, so that when you are revealed, you stand on something solid. It's the favor being refined in silence, so that when you speak, your words carry weight. Not just opinions, but power. God is not in a rush to showcase what He is still shaping. Do not despise the slow season. Do not curse the waiting, because God does not build shallow things. He takes His time with anything that carries eternal value. And you, beloved of God, are worth that time. Every delay is the divine hand at work. Every closed door is a redirection, not a rejection. Every silent moment is a holy pause that carries more meaning than the noise of 100 quick answers. You see, people may fail to recognize the value of your tears. They may not see the prayers you whisper in the dark. They may not notice the sacrifices you make behind the scenes. But God sees. God knows. God remembers. And when God repays, He repays in full, pressed down, shaken together, and overflowing in ways that no man can measure. His recompense is not limited to material gain. He repays with peace that guards your mind. He repays with favor that no system can block. He repays with purpose that turns past pain into present power. The world tells you to fix everything fast, patch it up, pretend, push through. But God says, bring it to me. Not the polished version. Bring me the real you. Bring me the weary you. Bring me the angry you. Bring me the confused, broken, uncertain, trembling you. That is the one I want. That is the one I can fill. That is the one I can use. Because God does not require strength. He gives it. He does not demand perfection. He perfects. He does not expect you to carry the burden. He invites you to lay it down. And when you lay it down, something begins to happen. Slowly, quietly, but unmistakably, God begins to trade your heaviness for His presence. He begins to exchange your despair for hope, your fear for courage, your tears for the oil of gladness, not because the situation changed overnight, but because you changed in the middle of it. You are no longer trying to outrun the storm. You are learning to rest in the arms of the one who controls the wind and the wave. This is where true faith lives. Not in the absence of questions, but in the presence of unwavering trust. Faith that says, even if I don't feel it, I believe God is here. Faith that says, even if I don't see the way, I trust God has one. Faith that declares, even if everything falls apart, God remains my anchor. That is the kind of trust that shakes the kingdom of darkness because it cannot be manipulated. It cannot be stolen. It cannot be crushed. It has been tested and proven, and what a testimony that becomes not just to others, but to yourself. To be able to say, I walked through the fire and I did not burn. I passed through the flood and I was not swept away, not because I was strong, but because God carried me. That is power. That is legacy. That is what transforms trials into triumph. You may look at your life and feel like you're going in circles. You may feel like nothing is progressing, like all your prayers have hit a wall. But trust this, God wastes nothing. What looks like delay is often a detour for your protection. What feels like a closed door may be God sealing off a path that leads to destruction. And what feels like obscurity is God building something so sacred within you that it cannot be rushed. When the time is right, what He has placed in you will come forth with fire, with favor, and with authority. But that authority is forged in the quiet places, in the still mornings when you choose prayer over panic, in the long nights when you worship through weeping, in the lonely roads where obedience costs you popularity. That is where your spirit is strengthened. That is where God breathes endurance into your lungs. That is where your heart learns to beat with the rhythm of His will. And when your soul is in tune with God's will, you no longer chase approval. You no longer live for applause. You are led by purpose, not pressure. You are moved by conviction, not convenience. And that is what makes you unshakable. The enemy may try to distract you, discourage you, even delay you, but he cannot destroy what God has built in surrender. So if you are tired, do not see it as a sign of weakness. See it as a call to draw nearer. Let the fatigue drive you to the source, not to despair. Let the tiredness remind you that you were never meant to carry this alone. God is inviting you deeper, not because you failed, but because you're ready for more. More of His wisdom, more of His peace, more of His strength. This is your moment to turn inward and upward, to say with unwavering resolve, God, I give you everything. Not just my success, but my struggle. Not just my gifts, but my grief. Not just my worship, but my weariness. All of it. Take it. Shape it. Use it. And when you pray like that, heaven hears. The silence shifts. Not always around you, but always within you. Because the greatest miracle is not always external, it is internal. It's the miracle of joy in sorrow, the miracle of peace in the middle of chaos, the miracle of standing tall when the weight should have crushed you. That's what God does. He lifts, He builds, He restores, and He does it in such a way that when people look at your life, they won't say, look what they did. They'll say, surely God was with them. So keep praying even when it feels dry. Keep waiting even when it feels endless. Keep trusting even when it feels risky. Because one moment in the presence of God can shift years of pain. One word from God can unlock doors you didn't even know existed. One move of His hand can settle every battle, silence every voice of doubt, and release every delayed blessing. And that moment is coming, not because of who you are, but because of who God is. Not because you've earned it, but because He is faithful. He is just. He is merciful. And He is reaching for you now. Not just to lift you out, but to bring you through. Not just to change your situation, but to transform you in the middle of it. So rise even if you rise slowly. Speak even if your voice shakes. Hope even if your heart is still healing. Because the God who sustains the stars knows your name. And He is not finished. Not now, not ever. Keep your eyes on Him. Keep your heart open to Him. Keep your life surrendered before Him. For those who wait on God shall never be put to shame. So now I speak to the one who is weary, to the soul that has been holding on by a thread, to the heart that has prayed 1,000 times with tears soaking the pillow in the dark. This is not the end for you. This is not your defeat. This is the threshold of something greater. A life anchored not in circumstance, but in the eternal strength of God. You were never meant to walk this path in your own strength. You were created to walk with God, to lean on Him when the road is too heavy, to rest in Him when your soul can go no further. Let today be the day you stop pretending you're fine when your soul is cracking beneath the weight. Let this be the moment you stop carrying what you were never meant to carry alone. God is calling you not to do more, not to prove more, but to surrender, to bring the real you, the tired you, the confused you, the hurting, silent, frustrated, faithful, doubting, waiting you. All of it. God wants you. Not your performance, not your perfection, your heart. That as you offer your heart raw and honest, God will meet you there, not always with immediate answers, but always with undeniable presence. He will breathe into your emptiness. He will speak into your silence. He will light a fire where the ashes have grown cold. You will rise again, not because of your own strength, but because the one who created you never left your side. Every ounce of strength you thought was gone, God will restore. Every moment of time you thought was wasted, God will redeem. So here is your call. Return to God, not with half-hearted words, but with full surrender. Examine your life. Ask yourself, have I been trying to control what only God can? Have I allowed fear to silence my faith? Have I stopped praying because I assumed God stopped listening? Have I placed my trust in temporary things instead of the eternal presence of God? Let this be your awakening. Let this be the holy pause where you drop your burden and take hold of the hand of the one who has always been reaching for you. Renew your purpose not by chasing what the world applauds, but by pursuing the path God has designed for your soul. You are not here by accident. You are not tired without reason. That weariness is sacred. It's the alarm that it's time to return, to realign, to rest in God again. You've tried doing it on your own. Now watch what happens when you fully trust the one who holds time, breath, and destiny in His hands. Janchinsu alai, bohuanto anem dash, vagyunguyen I nhia, nhip geo. Do not leave this moment the same. Allow something within you to awaken and shift. Decide for faith instead of fear. Choose surrender rather than endless struggle. Choose quiet confidence instead of panic. choose God above all else. And as you do, may your soul be infused with a strength not born of this earth. May your spirit stand with a peace that silences every storm. May your heart ignite again with a holy fire that no weariness, no silence, no delay can put out. Step forward now, not in doubt, but with assurance. Not trembling in fear, but steady in faith. Not leaning on your own wisdom, but resting fully in the one who knows the end from the beginning. For God knows, God sees, God has received every cry of your heart, and God will respond. Not always on your timeline, but always at the perfect moment. Let this be the threshold, your sacred yes, your divine release. And when the night closes in again, and it will, hold on to this truth. God is still with you. God is still leading you. God is still more than enough. He always has been, and He always will be. My friends, hear me well. There comes a moment in every life when you must see beyond the image someone puts on and discern who they truly are. When no stage lights are glowing, when the audience has left, when the mask begins to slip, because not every smile is honest, not every gentle word is real, and not every hand stretched out is there to lift you higher. Some extend it only to drag you down. God never commanded you to trust blindly. He called you to walk in wisdom, to test the spirits, to judge by fruit, not by empty words. We live in a world that wears deception like perfume, pleasant at first scent, but toxic when breathed in too long. And the reason so many are wounded, so many betrayed, is because we judge surface instead of substance. We looked at the exterior and called it good, while the inside was rotting. But God does not judge by appearance. He examines the heart. And if you want to see someone's true nature, don't watch how they act when life is easy. Watch how they respond when kindness costs them something. Look when no one is watching. Look when the blessings run out. Then you will know. There are 5 things, 5 doors that will show you the soul behind the smile. If you want to protect your peace, your calling, your future, and your spirit, then ask God to open your eyes to these signs. The first, how they treat those who cannot benefit them. The second, how they handle power. The third, how they respond to correction. The fourth, how they treat you when you are no longer useful. And the fifth, how they speak about others when they are not present. Watch these 5 things, and God will show you more than years of friendship ever could. Let me tell you the way someone treats those who have no wealth, no status, no position. It screams the truth of their character. You see, anybody can be polite to a king. Anybody can shake hands with someone in power. But watch how they speak to the waiter, the cleaner, the beggar, because if their heart carries pride, it will eventually touch you too. They will flatter you now, but when your season of favor ends, the same mouth will condemn you. That's why humble. Do not align your destiny with people who change their tone based on someone's title. They are not loyal to truth. They are loyal to opportunity. And the day you no longer serve their purpose is the day their kindness dries up like a well in the desert. But those who fear God walk in the same love. Whether they're standing before a king or a servant, those are the ones who carry light. Those are the ones God trusts with favor. The second sign, how they handle power. Power doesn't corrupt a person. It exposes them. It draws out what was already hidden beneath the surface. Give a person authority, and you will see what their heart has always longed for. Will they lead with justice, or will they rule with cruelty? Will they be gentle or arrogant? Will they be fair, or will they silence every voice of disagreement? God watches this closely, for He raises leaders not to glorify themselves, but to serve the people. If someone becomes bitter, cruel, or prideful when placed in charge, know this: their soul is not aligned with God's will. For the higher God takes you, the lower you should go in humility. And if someone cannot lead with love, they are not worthy to lead at all. Trust is not earned through charisma. It is earned through character, through restraint, through mercy, through truth. You want to know who a person truly is? Don't watch how they act when they have nothing. Watch how they behave when they have control. The third sign, how they respond to correction. A righteous heart will tremble when truth is spoken, not rebel against it. But a proud spirit will defend, deny, and deceive. The Word of God says, "He who hates correction is stupid." Yes, that's the language God uses. Because to reject truth is to reject growth. And if a person cannot handle being lovingly corrected, they will not be able to walk in unity, peace, or love. Look at their reaction. Do they listen and reflect, or do they rage and retaliate? Do they repent and realign, or do they twist and attack? Because how someone responds when you lovingly show them truth reveals whether they follow God or their ego. And listen, if someone gets angry every time you draw boundaries, they were never interested in loving you. Godly people are not allergic to accountability. They welcome it. They grow from it. They know it is God's way of sharpening their soul. The fourth sign, how they treat you when you are no longer useful, when your value to them changes. Does their love change too? Because true love is not built on convenience. It is not seasonal. It is not transactional. If someone disappears when your season of abundance ends, know this: they were never with you. They were with your benefits. But those who walk with God will not leave you when you're low. They will not mock your pain. They will not abandon you in your storm. Instead, they will stand beside you even when there is no spotlight. Watch closely, because the people who celebrate you in public may betray you in private. The ones who cheered when you rose may gossip when you fall. And the one who stood closest may be the one who wounds the deepest. That's why God allows certain losses, not to punish you, but to protect you. He removes people from your life, not out of cruelty, but out of mercy, because He heard conversations you didn't hear. He saw intentions you didn't see. And when God shows you someone's true character, believe it. And the fifth sign, how they speak about others when they are not in the room. If someone is constantly criticizing, mocking, and gossiping about people who cannot defend themselves, know this: they will do the same to you. The tongue is a weapon of the heart. And if a person finds pleasure in tearing others down, their soul is infected with pride. God hates gossip. He calls it wickedness. The same mouth that flatters you today may poison your reputation tomorrow. Don't align with slanderers. Don't entertain those who feast on rumors, because the one who loves to expose others is often hiding their own sin. God blesses those who protect, who cover, who build, the one who lifts others even when they are not present. That is the person whose heart is full of light. That is the kind of person you can trust in the dark. My friend, if you want to be wise, pray that God gives you discernment. Not paranoia, not suspicion, but spiritual vision, the ability to see what is unseen. Because not everyone who walks with you is walking for you. Some are there only for the moment of favor. Some are only interested in what you offer, not in who you are. And when the winds change, they will flee. So stop being deceived by good looks and smooth talk. Stop judging character by charisma. Look at these 5 signs. Ask God to open your eyes. You don't need to search their phone. You don't need to test their loyalty with game. Just watch. Watch how they treat the lowly. Watch how they handle power. Watch how they react to correction. Watch how they treat you when they don't need you. Watch how they talk about others when they're not around. Because when God is preparing to take you higher, He will first teach you who to take with you and who to leave behind. Not because of hatred, not because of revenge, but because of wisdom. Peace is too expensive to share it with those who sow chaos. Destiny is too precious to entrust it to double minds, and your time is too short to waste it on those who walk in the shadows. The truth is, God will often expose what you refuse to see. He will remove what you are trying to hold, because your soul matters too much to Him. And every time He reveals someone's true character, He's not breaking your heart. He's revealing your purpose. He's shifting your circle. He's pruning your path. You asked for blessings, but blessings can't thrive in betrayal. You prayed for peace, but peace cannot grow in deception. You long for favor, but favor flows through clean hands and loyal hearts. So don't fight the pruning. Don't resist the revealing. When someone shows you their true character, believe it. When God shows you, trust Him. He's not trying to hurt you. He's trying to protect you. Let go of the fake and make room for the divine. God is not mocked. He knows every motive, every hidden agenda, every double face. And in due time, He will bring truth to light. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to chase anyone. You don't have to beg for honesty. Just walk in truth. And those who walk with God will walk with you. And those who walk in darkness will flee from the light. Let God be your defender. Let God be your discerner. And He will surround you with those who are pure in heart, faithful in character, and holy in motive. Because at the end of the day, it's not about popularity. It's not about charm. It's not about followers or friends. It's about fruit. God looks for fruit, real fruit, the kind that lasts, the kind that blesses, the kind that reflects His nature. And when you learn to watch these 5 things, you will stop falling into the traps of deceit. You will walk in wisdom. You will guard your spirit, and you will walk with those who reflect the heart of God. Now hear this, and hear it with your spirit, not just your ears. There is no deception more dangerous than the one that wears the mask of goodness. The most dangerous people in your life may not be the loudest enemies, but the quiet pretenders. They sit at your table, they laugh at your jokes, they nod at your vision, but deep inside they carry envy like a sword sharpened in secret. And God, in His infinite wisdom, will not let you walk blindly into betrayal. He will start revealing what was once hidden, not to hurt you, but to heal you from attaching your soul to what was never real. Let me ask you, have you ever felt something was off, but you couldn't explain it? A strange unease when someone smiled? A subtle resistance when you shared your dream? That was God whispering to your spirit, look deeper. That was not paranoia. That was protection. God speaks not always in thunder, but often in the quiet disturbance of your peace. You must learn to recognize it. You must learn to listen to the shift in your spirit when something doesn't align with the light. Do you understand how much God cares for you enough to expose what you refuse to confront? Enough to pull you out of connections that only drained your soul. He is a guardian of your destiny. And before He takes you to higher places, He will inspect the loyalty of those surrounding you. He will not allow serpents to rise with you. That's why sometimes it feels like your circle is shrinking. It's not shrinking. It's being purified. God does not operate in confusion. He does not bless double-mindedness. So when He removes someone, do not try to reattach what God has cut off. The one who mocks you behind closed doors but praises you in public is a liar, not a friend. The one who uses your vulnerability to gain leverage is a manipulator, not a companion. And the one who cannot celebrate you without making it about themselves, mark it. That is not love. God is a God of clarity, and when He opens your eyes to see clearly, it is your responsibility to respond, not retreat back into blindness. Listen, many people confuse kindness with goodness, but kindness can be a performance. Goodness is proven in silence, in sacrifice, in seasons where there's nothing to gain. God sees through every act. He tests the heart, and when He gives you discernment, it is not a suggestion. It is a shield. He is not asking you to hate anyone, but to honor your calling enough to walk in truth. If someone gossips in front of you, they will gossip about you. If someone flatters you excessively, they are likely hiding their true intent. And if someone's character changes the moment pressure is applied, that wasn't growth you saw in them. It was a costume. God doesn't just reveal people when you ask Him. Sometimes He reveals people when you stop asking, when you're tired, when you're quiet, when your spirit is surrendered. And in those moments, He will show you the hidden motives behind the mask. There is a loneliness that comes with revelation. When God removes the faults, you will grieve. Not just the person, but the illusion, the image you had of them, the memories, the hopes. But let me tell you something. Better to walk alone with God than to walk with a crowd headed nowhere. Better to stand in the truth, though it stings, than to live in a fantasy that destroys your soul slowly. God is truth, and those who walk with Him must walk in truth. God is truth, and those who walk with Him must walk in truth, even when it's uncomfortable. The heart of God does not change. He is faithful. And His desire for you is not survival, but spiritual strength. And that strength is forged in moments of separation. It's forged when you choose to let go of toxic ties that your flesh wanted to keep. When you stop begging people to stay and start praising God for revealing who they are. When you stop trying to fix what God is tearing down. That is where clarity comes. That is where growth begins. That is where your soul starts to breathe again. Let me go deeper. Sometimes the people you are protecting are the very ones working against you. Sometimes the ones you defend in private are planning your downfall in secret. And God, in His mercy, will shake every false structure until only the real remains. That's why betrayal hurts. It's not just an act of treason, it's the destruction of illusion. But what you gain in return is priceless. You gain truth. You gain discernment. You gain alignment with God's will. Character is not revealed in compliments. It's revealed in conflict. It's not exposed when you're giving someone everything. It's exposed when you set limits. You want to know who loves you? Tell them no. Tell them not now. Tell them you can't be used anymore. Well, and watch. Watch what changes. Watch how they withdraw. Watch how they twist the story. That's when you'll know. They didn't love you. They loved your obedience. They didn't love your soul. They loved your service. But when you love God more than the approval of people, you will no longer tolerate emotional parasites. God is not silent when it comes to protection. He speaks through disconnection. He speaks through red flags. He speaks through inner tension. You prayed for peace, didn't you? Then stop chasing those who disturb it. You prayed for strength. Then stop entertaining weakness disguised as relationships. You asked for clarity. Then stop resisting the truth when it finally shows up. Allow God to finish the healing work He began. Let Him remove the infection. Let Him cleanse the very atmosphere around you. Often the greatest blessings arrive wrapped in heartbreak, because it's not only a person leaving, it's the weight of their presence, their control, their spiritual pollution. When God removes them, breathe deeply. Give thanks. You didn't lose a friend. You lost a burden and you overcame it. You chose God instead of ease. You chose truth instead of deception. You chose alignment with heaven instead of dependence on emotion. And for that, heaven celebrates. Many never step fully into their calling because they will not let go of what God already exposed. They cling from routine, from guilt, from fear of being left alone. But hear this clearly. You cannot be faithful to your destiny and to poison at the same time. One must destroy the other. And if you keep carrying what God commanded you to release, don't be shocked when the weight crushes you. Let go before it does. God is not playing games with your destiny. He wants you free, whole, alert, equipped. When God raises you up, He does not do it so you can fit in. He does it so you can stand apart. He does it so you can see what others can't see. So you can speak what others are too afraid to say. So you can walk in purity while others walk in compromise. This is not about arrogance. This is about assignment. You are called to walk in integrity even if it costs you every fake friend. You are called to be set apart even if it means standing alone. And in time, God will surround you with people whose hearts beat in rhythm with His. People who speak truth, who honor boundaries, who uplift your soul without draining it. People who love deeply, not strategically. People who protect your name even when you're not in the room. But before God sends them, He must test you with the counterfeit. He must see if you can recognize what is false, if you will choose truth when it's hard, if you will walk away from what you once begged. That is the refining fire. That is the place where discernment is born. So today, open your eyes. Not just your physical eyes, but your spiritual ones. Ask God to strip away every illusion, to expose every secret agenda, to silence every voice that speaks against your destiny. You don't need to fight in the flesh. Just walk in the light. The truth has its own power. God defends those who walk in righteousness. And in time, the masks will fall, the lies will crumble, the fate will scatter, and the truth will stand tall like a pillar that cannot be shaken. Because when you walk with God, you walk in a kingdom that cannot be manipulated, a light that cannot be dimmed, a truth that cannot be denied. Let that be your confidence. Let that be your shield. You don't need everyone to like you. You don't need everyone to understand you. You just need to walk with God and let Him reveal what only He can. And now I ask you, how long will you continue giving your trust to those who have not earned it through honor? How many times will you place your peace into the hands of people who only handle it with care when it's convenient? This is not the time to be naive. This is not the season to walk with your spiritual eyes closed. When God gives you the ability to discern, He is handing you armor. He is giving you spiritual intel. He is showing you how to protect what He placed within you. Do not call everyone your friend simply because they stood beside you for a moment. Do not label someone as loyal just because they applauded your success. Loyalty is not measured in the noise of celebration. but in the silence of absence. When you fall, when you weep, when the light dims, who remains? That is where truth reveals itself. God is not interested in relationships that are built on convenience. He is purifying your life from the superficial, the self-serving, and the spiritually shallow. And hear me now. Discernment is not suspicion. It is clarity born in the secret place with God. It is not birthed out of fear, but out of deep trust in God's wisdom. Discernment allows you to see patterns when others only see people. It allows you to hear tones behind the words, to feel a shift in spirit that can't be explained by sight. Oh. It's a divine awareness that says something here is not aligned with the light. That's God's whisper, friend. That's Him protecting you. You see, too often we are deceived by appearances. But God is not. God is not impressed with external beauty, eloquent speech, or grand gestures. He measures hearts. He weighs motives. He sees what cannot be posted or performed. And if we are truly walking with God, we must learn to measure people by the same scale. Not by how they serve us in public, but by how they walk when no reward is guaranteed. Not by how loud they are, but by how consistent they remain when all glory fades. Look closely. People can mimic compassion, but they cannot fake consistency. They can mimic empathy, but they cannot replicate integrity. And when you walk in discernment, you'll stop being impressed with charisma. You'll stop being distracted by charm. You'll start valuing character because character doesn't change with the seasons. Character doesn't vanish in hardship. Character stands firm when pressure comes. And that is the soil in which God plants favor. Let me speak directly to the one who's been wounded, the one who trusted and was betrayed, the one who gave everything and received silence in return. I tell you, God saw it. God recorded every tear. God measured every motive. And what you thought was a season of abandonment was a season of revelation. You didn't lose. It was revealed. And now you walk wiser. Now your vision is sharper. Now your ears are trained for truth. That is not weakness. That is God preparing you to walk in deeper authority. Do not allow bitterness to harden your spirit. Let wisdom rise instead. Let discernment become your companion. Let the fire refine you, not destroy you. Because when God allows exposure, He always intends elevation. When He removes what's fake, He makes room for what's ordained. But you must release your need to hold on to what He is calling you to let go of. Stop mourning over what was revealed. Start praising for what is being rebuilt. The path of discernment is not lonely. It is sacred. It is not cold. It is clear. When you walk with God, you may walk alone at times, but you are never abandoned. His light will guide you. His truth will guard you. And His hand will surround you. You must stop explaining your standards to those who benefit from your confusion. You must stop defending your distance to those who only grew close to devour your peace. Your boundaries are holy. Your discernment is divine. And your spirit belongs to God alone. You don't need everyone to understand your decisions when they are rooted in divine revelation. You don't need the approval of divine revelation. You don't need the approval of those who were never assigned to your destiny. What you need is the courage to obey what God shows you, to walk away when He reveals, to stand firm when others fall away, to honor His whisper over the noise of popular opinion. That is where your power lives. That is where your anointing grows. Understand this. Spiritual maturity is not how many scriptures you recite. It's how you treat people when there is nothing to gain. It's how you stay faithful to God's instruction when it conflicts with your emotion. It's how you choose alignment over attachment. You cannot walk in the power of God if you continue making room for what is draining you. You cannot carry holy fire while dining with spiritual thieves. God is cleansing your connections. He is severing what you are too afraid to cut. He is making you bold. He is giving you strength to say no, wisdom to walk away, and peace to remain silent when you are misunderstood. That is divine maturity. That is the walk of the spiritually awake. And listen, stop praying for peace while feeding relationships that provoke chaos. Stop asking God to elevate you while holding hands with people who are committed to keeping you small. Stop asking for light while entertaining those who thrive in the shadows. God is not confused. He cannot be mocked. If you truly want what He has for you, then you must release what He never sent to you. The deeper your calling, the stricter your circle. The higher your purpose, the smaller your crew. God doesn't allow clutter around consecration. And when He begins to raise your standard, it will offend those who refuse to rise. But let it offend. Let it shake. Let it break every unholy alliance. Because you were not created to fit in. You were created to stand out. You were not born to please everyone. You were chosen to obey God. And when you walk in that clarity, your vision sharpens, your path clears, and your soul breathes freely again. This is not about isolation. This is about sanctification, about separation for the sake of purpose, about choosing alignment with God's ways over approval from man. And the moment you stop compromising, the moment you stop lowering your light just to keep others comfortable, that's the moment God will release you into greater. You are not here to be admired. You are here to be refined. You are not called to blend in. You are called to illuminate. And that light, that truth, that wisdom, it comes from walking with God and allowing Him to open your eyes to what the world calls normal, but He calls poison. When God shows you someone's heart, believe Him. When He removes your comfort, thank Him. And when He whispers, "Not this one," obey Him. There is protection in obedience. There is blessing in surrender. There is destiny in discernment. Walk with God. Keep your spirit clean. Guard your peace. Watch those 5 things. Let the truth of who someone is be seen, not by what they say, but by what they do when nobody's looking. When correction is given, when power is in their hand, when you're no longer beneficial, and when others aren't in the room. And when you see the truth, do not deny it. Walk in it. Trust the one who reveals it. And know this, the path of wisdom is the path where God walks closely beside you, shielding your soul and guiding your every step, not by sight, but by spiritual fire. Let us go even deeper. One of the greatest tragedies in life is not being betrayed. It is refusing to learn from it. When God allows a betrayal, it is not to break your spirit, but to awaken your discernment. It is not just about who turned their back on you. It is about how God is sharpening your vision, strengthening your resolve, and maturing your soul. Because the deeper your purpose, the more precise your perception must be. Not everyone who walks with you deserves access to your heart, your dreams, or your vulnerability. And God, in His unmatched wisdom, will shake the ground beneath your relationships. So only what is rooted in truth can stand. When God starts shaking, let Him shake. When He starts separating, let Him separate. When He begins revealing hearts, don't turn your face away, because some of the people you're trying to keep are the very ones slowing your spiritual progress. Some of the voices you're trusting are drowning out the voice of God. And some of the hands you're holding are leading you into delay, not destiny. The path you've been praying for is not blocked by the enemy. It's blocked by your refusal to release what God is trying to remove. Understand this. Elevation requires purification. And every time God prepares to take you into a new season, He begins a new cleansing, not just of habits, but of hearts, not just of sin, but of surroundings. Because light cannot fellowship with darkness, and your calling cannot grow where dishonesty thrives. You must be willing to stand alone, if standing alone is what allows you to walk fully with God. You must be willing to be misunderstood if being misunderstood means you are aligned with divine truth. God does not ask you to please people. He asks you to obey Him. And when obedience feels lonely, remember God walks with those who walk in truth. He fights for those who refuse to compromise. He elevates those who purify their inner circle. This is why He said the way is narrow. The narrow path is not about religious rules. It's about focused obedience, about deliberate detachment from anything that dilutes your spiritual clarity. Stop measuring someone's loyalty by their history. Measure it by their consistency. Stop measuring someone's love by their words. Measure it by their actions when no one is watching. And stop measuring someone's value by how close they are. Measure it by how pure their intentions are. Sometimes the closest person to you is also the most dangerous. Not because they're loud, but because they know your weaknesses and use them silently. But God is never silent when it comes to protection. He will stir your spirit. He will unsettle your peace. He will block your efforts. And He will do all this not to frustrate you, but to redirect you. You may ask, but how can I trust? Again, the answer is not in trusting people blindly. It's in trusting God fully. He is not asking you to stop loving. He's asking you to love wisely, to love without idolizing, to love with discernment, to love without losing your boundaries. Trust must be tested. Love must be guarded, and relationships must be filtered through God's wisdom. You are not being paranoid when you notice the little things. You're being protected. You are not being cold when you withhold access from those who dishonor your peace. You are being wise. You are not being unforgiving when you walk away from repeated patterns of betrayal. You are being aligned. Forgiveness does not require access. Healing does not require reunion. Peace does not require their approval. What you need is to obey God more than you fear rejection. There is a higher way to live, a way where God leads your relationships, not your loneliness, where your discernment is stronger than your desire for acceptance, where your spirit is no longer governed by emotional attachments, but by spiritual alignment. That is where freedom lives, Mike. That is where clarity flows. That is where you become untouchable, not by being distant, but by being deeply rooted in God's truth. Ask yourself, what am I allowing around me that God has already shown me is harmful? Who am I defending when God is trying to remove them? What am I tolerating that is suffocating my peace? These are not small questions. These are spiritual keys because the moment you answer them honestly, the doors to greater clarity, favor, and growth will open. When someone shows you they cannot handle truth, believe them. When someone belittles your convictions, believe them. When someone grows distant after you draw a boundary, believe them. That is not the loss of love. That is the birth of truth. That is the mercy of God unveiling what your heart didn't want to admit. You may feel pain in the process, but peace will follow your obedience. And peace is a sign of God's presence. Now I speak to those of you who are clinging to familiar pain because it feels safer than unfamiliar peace. Let go. Let go of the need to fix everyone. Let go of the fear of being alone. Let go of the illusion that you need their permission to walk away. You don't. God is your source. God is your comfort. God is your protector. And God is the one who goes before you and prepares a place where your soul can thrive, not just survive. You're not obligated to remain in circles where gossip flows, where envy thrives, where manipulation is masked as concern. You don't owe your presence to anyone who disrespects your purpose. And you don't need to apologize for walking away from what God has already exposed. Let people think what they won't. Let people think what they won't. Let them say what they will. What matters is what God has said. And when God gives you peace about leaving, don't look back. God will never ask you to stay loyal to dysfunction. He will never call you to fellowship with deception. He will never expect you to endure what He came to free you from. So when He reveals character, respond. When He exposes intentions, obey. When He whispers, "This is not your tribe," listen. That whisper may be the very thing that saves your destiny. And to the one who feels weary, God sees you. He sees the weight you've carried. He sees the nights you stayed silent to keep the peace. He sees the wounds from words spoken behind your back. He sees the betrayal, and He says enough. Enough pretending, enough carrying what was never yours, enough watering relationships that never bore good fruit. It's time to align. It's time to walk in truth. It's time to choose what is eternal over what is emotional. God is not just trying to remove people. He is trying to reveal you, to show you what you allowed, to show you what you settled for, to show you how much higher you are always called to go. He is raising your standards not to punish you, but to bless you, not to isolate you, but to insulate you. You are not alone. You are being refined. You are not forgotten. You are being set apart. And every pruning, every separation, every exposure is God preparing you for something greater than you've known. There comes a time in your spiritual journey where God no longer allows you to be blind to the patterns that are poisoning your peace. He will open your eyes not to destroy your faith in people, but to strengthen your dependence on Him alone. Because when your eyes are on people, your emotions will rise and fall with their behavior. But when your eyes are fixed on God, you gain an unshakable center, a stillness in your soul that no betrayal, no lie, no rejection. God is not raising you to be fragile. He is not building you to be manipulated. He is not shaping you to live in confusion. He is grounding you in truth so that even when the ground shakes and the faces around you shift, your peace stands firm. Your spirit stands anchored. You are not meant to be tossed by every wind of emotion, every shift in loyalty, every flattering tongue or cold shoulder. You were designed by God to walk in divine discernment, led by convict. The more you grow, the more God reveals. And the more God reveals, the more you must choose. Will you continue to excuse behavior that God has exposed? Or will you walk in the wisdom you prayed for? Because what God reveals is never to shame. It is to protect. It is to awaken your soul to what it has tolerated for far too long. And if you keep choosing comfort over clarity, you will delay what God is trying to do in you and through you. There are people in your life who were assigned for only a season, but you've tried to make them permanent. And now you're wondering why your peace is disturbed, why your clarity is blurred, why your spirit feels heavy. It's because God has lifted His grace off that connection. He's already ended it in the spirit. You're just dragging it in the flesh. He has shown you enough. Stop asking for more proof. Stop hoping they'll change. If someone cannot honor your calling, your boundaries, your purity, they cannot walk with you into your next. And hear this loud and clear. Not everyone who walks away is your enemy. Some were sent by God to leave. Their exit was your deliverance. Their silence was your healing. Their rejection was your redirection. Stop mourning over closed doors that were never opened by God to begin with. What you thought was abandonment was actually alignment. God didn't allow them to stay because He heard the conversations they had about you when you weren't in the room. He saw the thoughts they carried in secret. And because you belonged to Him, He couldn't let you walk with wolves in sheep's clothing. Now you must walk forward, not with bitterness, but with boldness, not with resentment, but with revelation. Your discernment is not a burden. It is your blessing, your ability to see beyond appearances, to sense spiritual shifts, to detect what is not being said. That is God's gift to you. Honor it, use it, protect it, because the enemy doesn't need to destroy you if he can just deceive you. If he can plant a counterfeit in your life, a sweet-talking, well-dressed distraction, and get you to attach your peace to it, then slowly but surely your purpose begins to decay. Not with a scream, but with a whisper, not with a storm, but with a silence that starves your spirit. That's why God warns you before the disaster. That's why He sends a flicker of discomfort, a quiet check in your soul, a repeated sign in your path. He's not being harsh. He's being protective. Because when you are assigned to something great, you become a target for spiritual sabotage. And often the greatest attacks don't come from obvious enemies. They come from trusted voices with hidden motives. But here's the truth. You will never be deceived if you stay surrendered. When you let God lead every connection, every conversation, every opportunity, your path will be preserved. God is not a God of confusion. He is not a God of chaos. When something is from Him, it brings peace. Not perfection, but peace. Not ease, but alignment. If your spirit is constantly disturbed, if you feel drained after every interaction, that's not a maybe, that's a message. God is speaking. The question is, are you listening? Your peace is your compass. Your discernment is your defense. And your relationship with God is your source. When He is the center of your life, everything that is not aligned must fall away. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. That's not loss. That's liberation. And now, as you stand at the edge of clarity, take this truth and seal it deep within your spirit. God has already shown you everything you need to see. You are not waiting for another sign. You are not waiting for more evidence. What you are truly waiting for is the courage to respond to what God has already revealed. The people in your life, the patterns you've ignored, the subtle whispers in your soul, they were not random. They were divine signals, sacred nudges, and spiritual alarms echoing one message. Pay attention. Guard your peace. Walk in wisdom. There is no higher form of obedience than trusting God when it doesn't make sense. There is no greater sign of spiritual maturity than releasing what no longer carries His presence. And there is no deeper faith than believing that when God removes someone, He is making room for something better, for greater alignment, deeper peace, stronger protection, and divine purpose. So stop clinging to counterfeits. Stop watering what refuses to grow. Stop excusing what God has exposed. The same God who protected you in the past will preserve you in the future. He is not leading you to heartbreak. He is leading you to wholeness. And even if you must walk alone for a season, you will never walk without His presence. Even if every familiar voice falls silent, His voice will never fade. Even if every door closes, His door will stand open wide. Because God is not just the revealer of truth. He is the rewarder of those who walk in it. Let this be the season where you stop guessing and start discerning, where you stop pleasing and start obeying, where you stop tolerating and start aligning. Now is the time to take your stand and declare, this is where it ends. I choose what is true. I choose peace. I choose God. And when your choice is God, you will never be left in defeat. You will walk in light. You will walk in strength. You will walk in a covering so divine that no enemy, no betrayal, no lie can break through. So protect your heart, protect your circle, and protect the sacred purpose God has placed over your life. You are not fragile. You are not lost. You are chosen, and the Lord Himself walks beside you. Let what must crumble, crumble. Let who must leave, leave. And let God's presence fill the emptiness with what is pure, what is true, what is everlasting. You already know their nature. Now step into your calling, steadfast, focused, fearless. For when God is your shepherd, His truth will always break chains and set you free. There comes a season in every life, in every soul's walk, when night seems endless and hope feels far away, when your prayers return only echoes, and your heart wonders if God even heard. You have kept to the narrow road. You have borne the load. You have stood firm while others stumbled. And yet, it may seem your breakthrough, your answer, your deliverance has been postponed. But listen with urgency. This is not delay from God. He is preparing. God is not deaf to you. He is arranging something far beyond what your mind can see. Even now, He is moving you from a season of waiting into an instant of sudden, unstoppable, undeniable victory. Listen close. What sounded like heaven's silence was the noise of divine building. God has been working behind the curtain. He has been positioning people, preparing openings, softening hearts, swinging doors wide, and aligning your steps with exactness. The waiting was not punishment. It was preparation. And just when the enemy thought to crush your hope, just when others gave up on you, just when you began to believe your season had passed, God steps in with mountain-moving power. He is changing the atmosphere. He is snapping chains. He is tearing down walls. And He is doing it suddenly. You see, God does not move according to your calendar. He's not bound by the ticking of your clock. One moment in His presence can reverse years of pain, delay, and struggle. One word from God can shake the earth and rearrange your destiny. And I tell you with boldness today, that word is coming. That shift is upon you. That miracle is near. God is getting ready to lift you from obscurity to influence, from rejection to recognition, from barrenness to fruitfulness. From what took others decades will happen for you in days. Not because of who you are, but because of who God is. God saw your private tears. He heard your prayers in the midnight hour. He watched you forgive when it hurt, remain silent when you could have fought back, and worship Him even when you didn't understand. That obedience did not go unnoticed. That faithfulness did not go unrewarded. God is a God of justice, and He repays. He repays with blessings that overflow. He repays with peace that passes understanding. He repays with sudden breakthroughs that defy logic. You've waited. You've wondered. But now God is shifting you into a place where waiting is replaced by winning. Don't you give up now. Don't you sit down in sorrow when the edge of your miracle is right in front of you. Don't let discouragement lie to you. Don't let delay define you. God never forgets His faithful one. He never overlooks the heart that seeks Him. And when the time is right, not your time, but His time, He will make it happen. That is the promise. That is the power. That is the shift. And for those who have walked through fire, who have survived the storm, who have stood alone and still chosen to trust, God has reserved a sudden victory that will leave every doubter speechless. There are moments in history when God moves swiftly, shaking kingdoms, altering destinies, lifting up the lowly and bringing down the proud. And I declare to you now, you are standing at the edge of one of those moments. The same God who lifted Joseph from the prison to the palace in a single day is the God who is lifting you. The same God who parted seas for Moses, who rained manna from heaven, who shut the mouths of lions for Daniel. That same God is alive, active, and moving in your favor. And when God moves, nothing can stop Him. You don't need the approval of man. You don't need the applause of people. You need only the hand of God. And when He decides to shift you from waiting into victory, no demon, no enemy, no betrayal, no limitation can stand in the way. The delay has expired. The struggle has served its purpose. The lesson has been learned, and now the season is changing. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are being elevated not by manipulation, not by connection, but by the power of the one who sees all and knows all. God's timing is precise. You may think you've been overlooked, but God has been hiding you for the right moment. You were not rejected. You were protected. What you thought was a setback was a setup. And now with divine acceleration, He is bringing every piece together. He is taking what was broken and making it whole. He is taking what was delayed and making it swift. He is taking what was denied, what once was out of reach will soon be in your hand. But listen, this is not a time to shrink back in doubt. This is a time to rise up in faith. Your posture must match the promise. Walk like it's already done. Speak like the doors are already open. Pray like the walls are already falling. Worship like the breakthrough is already here. Because when God decides it's time, no force in heaven or earth can hold Him back. He is not a man that He should lie. He is not slow in keeping His word. He does not forget the cry of the righteous. The enemy wanted to exhaust you in the waiting. He wanted to poison your heart with bitterness. He wanted to drain your strength with doubt. But you held on. You stayed standing. You kept believing. And now God is about to honor that faith in front of those who said it was foolish. He is about to show the world that those who trust in Him will never be put to shame. He is about to open doors that no man can shut and shut doors that no man can open. This is the shift. This is the moment. This is the movement of God. I tell you, victory is not just coming, it is coming suddenly. It will come so fast. It will confuse your enemies. It will come so powerfully. It will silence every lie. It will come so completely. It will redeem every loss. And when it comes, it will be evident to all that only God could have done this. You will not have to fight for it. You will not have to beg for it. You will not have to explain it. God will do it in such a way that His hand will be unmistakable. And when the victory comes, remember this: it was not your strength that brought you through. It was God's. It was not your connections that opened the way. It was God. It was not your wisdom that solved the problem. It was God. So give Him the glory up. Give Him the honor. Give Him the praise, for He alone is worthy. He alone saw the beginning from the end. He alone wrote your story, and now He is bringing it into fulfillment. There is a sound in the Spirit, a sound of chains breaking, a sound of doors opening, a sound of the dry bones coming to life. It is the sound of a people who waited and now are walking into what God promised. It is the sound of transition, the sound of sudden glory, the sound of divine shift. It is here, it is now, and it is yours. Let your heart rise in expectation. Let your faith be stirred afresh. Let your soul rejoice, for the wait is over. What God is about to do for you will surpass what you imagined. He has been preparing you for this all along. What felt like a delay was divine training. God was building your patience, refining your character, strengthening your resolve. He was stripping away what couldn't go with you into the next season. He was separating you from wrong connections, pulling you from dangerous places, and teaching you how to depend on Him fully. Because the victory He is about to give you will require a new version of you, one that knows how to carry the weight of the blessing without being crushed by it. You are stepping into a season of divine reversal. Where there was lack, there will be abundance. Whoa. Where there was sorrow, there will be joy. Where there was defeat, there will be triumph. God is turning the page. He is writing a new chapter. And it begins with victory. Not a small win, not a halfway breakthrough, but a full, miraculous, supernatural, undeniable victory that only He could bring. Stay faithful, stay humble, stay ready. Because when the moment comes, it will not be time to get ready. It will be time to walk through the door. And if you have stayed close to God in the waiting, you will recognize the shift when it happens. It will feel like a wind. It will feel like fire. It will feel like an eruption of joy in your spirit. And when it happens, walk boldly. Walk confidently. Walk thankfully, for what God is giving you is not temporary. It is eternal. What He is releasing is not fragile. It is fortified. What He is building cannot be torn down. You are not who you used to be. The waiting has changed you. The fire has refined you. The storms have matured you, and now you are ready. Ready to receive, ready to lead, ready to carry what God is placing in your hands. There will be no more delay. There will be no more going in circles. This is the hour. This is the shift. God is moving in your favor, and He is doing it suddenly. Stay with Him. Trust Him. Praise Him. Because you're not just going to witness the miracle, you're going to live in it. The God who has sustained you in the shadows is now positioning you for the spotlight of His glory. And when the world sees it, they won't understand how it happened, but you will know. You will know it was the hand of God all along. You must understand this. God does not prepare you for victory without first preparing the battlefield. Long before you arrive, He has already gone ahead of you. He has already dismantled the traps of the enemy, already scattered the plans of those who sought your downfall, already removed obstacles you didn't even know were there. You may have felt forgotten, but God was working while you were waiting. The silence was not absence, and it was strategy. And now what seemed delayed will burst forth with divine speed because God is shifting you. Not gradually, not hesitantly, but suddenly. The shift of God is not always loud. Sometimes it begins in the quiet place, in the stillness of obedience, in the steady footsteps of someone who refused to quit. It doesn't always start with a trumpet blast or a sign in the heavens. Sometimes it starts in a whisper, a nudge in your spirit, a change in atmosphere, a divine unrest that says, "Get ready." And when God whispers, it shakes the foundations of the unseen realm. When He moves, the earth responds. When He decides to act, no man, no system, no delay can interfere. This is not just your season. This is your divine appointment. There are moments that define history. Moments when God interrupts the normal and releases the supernatural. This is such a moment. And yes, you are not here by accident. You have been chosen for this hour. You have been prepared through trials, molded through hardship, refined through affliction. Every scar, every lesson, every sleepless night has brought you here. And now God is breathing new wind into your soul, new fire into your purpose, and new strength into your bones. The victory that is coming is not only for your benefit, it is for the glory of God. He is about to use your story to silence the mockers. He is about to use your testimony to lift the head. Others will look at what He does in your life and realize that it was never about your qualifications, your connections, or your abilities. It was always about your submission. It was always about your willingness to trust, to yield, to obey, even when nothing made sense. Do not be surprised when the shift disrupts your routine. Do not be alarmed when old patterns begin to fall apart. When God prepares to elevate you, He often removes what cannot sustain you in the next level. He is severing ties to things that once comforted you, but would now compromise you. He is pruning what looks alive, but is bearing no fruit. Because sudden victory requires space, it demands a clearing. God is making room not just for the blessing, but for the weight of it, the responsibility of it, the influence that comes with it. People may not understand your discipline, your silence, your isolation, but God does. He has called you to stand apart because what He is doing in you is uncommon. You are not meant to blend in. You are not meant to follow the crowd. You are marked for something higher, something holier, something that cannot be achieved through shortcuts or compromise. You were not created for survival. You were created for dominion. And when God shifts you, it is not simply to relieve your suffering. It is to reveal His greatness through your life. The victory that is coming will not only restore what was lost, it will exceed it. God is a multiplier. He never just returns what the locusts have eaten. He gives double for your trouble, strength for your sorrow, clarity for your confusion. And when He restores, He does it so thoroughly that the pain of your past becomes the platform for His power. You will look back on what once broke you and see how God used it to build you. You will see how the nights you cried became the soil in which faith took root. You will see how every rejection was a redirection to a better door. But I must tell you this: do not let your heart become arrogant in the blessing. God is lifting you, but He is still the source. He is bringing the victory, but the victory is His, not yours. Stay grounded. Stay grateful. Stay focused. Remember the days when all you had was a prayer. Remember the moments when His presence was your only peace. The higher God takes you, the deeper your roots must grow in humility. The more He blesses you, the more you must return to Him in worship. And if you feel the pressure increasing, if the warfare intensifies before the breakthrough, rejoice. That is a sign you are closer than you think. The enemy does not fight what does not threaten him. The storm often rages fiercest right before the skies clear. The final push is often the hardest. But if you do not faint, if you do not let go, if you do not retreat, you will see the fullness of what God has promised. You will walk in the blessing that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. Do not try to control the timing. Trust it. Do not try to manipulate the outcome. Surrender it. God is not moved by desperation. He is moved by faith. And faith says, even when I do not see the shift, I believe it's happening. Faith says, even when I do not understand the delay, I will not doubt the promise. Faith declares, though the vision tarries, I will wait for it will surely come. It will not delay. This is your hour to believe like never before. Speak life over your situation. Speak breakthrough over your family. Speak clarity over your future. God has given you authority not over people, not over circumstances, but over your response. Use your words as weapons. Let your praise become your shield. Let your trust become your sword. For every time you choose faith over fear, obedience over comfort, trust over control, you are aligning yourself with the divine shift God is releasing. Let no voice, no past mistake, no current trial convince you that your waiting was in vain. God wastes nothing. He uses every second. And the shift from waiting to victory is not just about speed, it's about supernatural alignment. Things that wouldn't move before will move now. People who wouldn't listen will suddenly hear. Walls that stood for years will collapse in an instant. Not because of your might, but because God said it is time. And when God says it is time, you do not need to force it. You just need to walk in it. Walk in the authority He's given you. Walk in the peace He's placed inside you. Walk in the confidence that what He starts, He finishes. There is no delay that can cancel your destiny when God says now. There is no opposition strong enough to block what He has ordained. If God is shifting you, He is also carrying, is making the crooked paths straight. He is leveling the mountains. He is illuminating the road you could not see before. Do not allow your past to define your future. God is not consulting your history to write your destiny. The opinions of man, the doubts of critics, the labels others placed on you, they carry no weight in the courts of heaven. God alone decides the outcome. And if He says you're going from waiting to victory, then that is your portion. You may not feel ready. You may not look qualified, but the power of God is not limited by your perception of yourself. He lifts the unlikely. He promotes the humble. He exalts the one who honors Him above all. So prepare yourself not in fear, but in faith. Make room for the blessing. Clean out the old thinking. Release the bitterness. Let go of the people who cannot walk with you into this next place. Don't bring delay into your destiny. Don't bring doubt into your victory. What God is doing is too precious to be tainted by hesitation. Step boldly. Step fully. And let your life be a declaration, not of your strength, but of the greatness. This shift will bring alignment. It will bring restoration. It will bring recompense. You will see promises fulfilled that you nearly forgot. You will see opportunities emerge from places you never imagined. You will see favor descend like rain on dry land. And when you see it, you will remember it was all God, not luck, not chance, not coincidence. God, only God. Let your faith rise not because you understand everything, but because you trust the one who does. Let your soul awaken to the truth that you are not stuck. You are being positioned, not abandoned, appointed, not delayed, developed. And when the shift happens, it will not just change your circumstances, it will change your identity. You will no longer be called the one who waits, but the one who overcomes. God is not done. He is not distant. He is closer than your next breath. And if you will listen with your spirit, you will hear it. You will feel it. The shift is here. It is sacred. It is swift. It is sure. Let your heart be steady, for the God who began the good work in you is now bringing it to completion with sudden victory. When God begins to shift a soul, He does not ask for permission. He initiates movement according to His divine will, and often that movement comes in silence. It begins when you're unaware. The stirring happens deep in the unseen layers of your life where only God has access. You may not even feel it at first, but suddenly what seemed immovable starts to tremble. What was locked begins to loosen. What was dry starts to flow. God is not asking if you are ready. He is declaring that you are. And when God shifts, nothing in existence can halt it. This shift is not only about receiving a victory, it's about becoming someone who can sustain it. God will never give you a blessing that will break you. He molds you through the waiting so that when the victory comes, you carry it with integrity. This shift requires more than excitement. It requires strength, purity of heart, and unwavering trust. God is not promoting the loudest voice, but the cleanest vessel. He is not interested in temporary applause. He is seeking those who are prepared to carry His favor with humility. That's why the waiting was long. That's why the fire was hot. Because what's coming is weighty. And only those who are deeply rooted in God can stand under the fullness of it. Do not envy those who seem to rise quickly. Speed without God is a setup for collapse. But when God lifts you, He builds your foundation first. And that foundation is trust. Radical, uncompromising trust in God alone. A trust that says, even if I don't understand the delay, I still believe the promise. A trust that stands still when fear says run. A trust that remains faithful when others walk away. This kind of trust cannot be taught in comfort. It is forged in the furnace of waiting. And now, with that trust intact, with that foundation laid, God says, move forward, but not in your strength. Move forward in divine confidence, because this victory is not born of effort. It is born of obedience. It is the reward of hidden faith. It is the harvest of silent prayers. And it comes not when man commands it, but when God declares it. You are not rising because of favor from people. You are rising because of alignment with God. That is the highest favor a soul can carry. This victory will not look like the world's version of success. It may not come with flashing lights or public celebration, but it will come with peace. It will come with clarity. It will come with the undeniable assurance that you are exactly where God wants you to be. And in that place, whether it is a palace or a desert, you will know that the God who carried you through the waiting is now crowning you with triumph. Do not let your eyes deceive you. What seems quiet right now is actually the calm before acceleration. And when it begins, it will happen so quickly that even you will struggle to keep up. People will ask, how did this happen? How did everything shift overnight? And all you will be able to say is, God, because you didn't force it. You didn't beg for it. You didn't manipulate it. You waited and God acted. But remember this, when God shifts you, He may remove people who cannot walk with you into the next season. That separation is not punishment. It's preservation. There are alliances that once served you, but would now hinder you. There are voices that once encouraged you, but now would confuse you. God is a jealous protector of purpose, and He will not allow anyone to dilute what He is about to release in your life. So don't mourn every goodbye. Don't resist every closed door. Sometimes the rejection is the redirection. Sometimes the silence is a sign that elevation is near. You were not meant to stay in the shadows forever. God did not form you in the quiet just to let you stay silent. He refined you privately so He could release you publicly. He hid you in the waiting so that you could be revealed in the right timing. And now, the covering is being lifted. The limits are being broken. The old labels are being stripped away. What you thought was your ceiling will become your floor. He was an A person, now you hid yourself. What you thought was your ceiling will become your floor. Held you back will now be behind you. You will not go forward timidly. You will go forward with fire, with clarity, with purpose, and with the unmistakable presence of God going before you. This victory isn't only for you, it's for those connected to you. Your obedience has created a ripple effect. Your consistency has opened the floodgates. There are people who will be blessed because you endured. There are lives that will change because you stayed faithful. What you carry is not just a testimony, it's a torch, and others will find their way through the light. God shines through you. Do not minimize your calling. Do not downplay your shift. The same God who raised kings out of shepherds and brought nations out of barren women is the same God who is now pointing to you and saying, "Rise." And when you rise, rise clean. Rise focused. Rise ready, because the temptation in victory is to forget the pain of the journey. But never forget the nights you cried out to God asking if He saw you. Never forget the moments when you almost gave up, but something in your soul whispered, "Hold on." That was God. He was there when no one else was. He was lifting you when no one else could. And now that He is shifting you, honor Him with every step. God does not bring you out of waiting so you can be admired. He brings you out so you can fulfill what He placed inside you. There is purpose attached to this shift. There are assignments connected to your elevation. So walk carefully, walk prayerfully, walk with the knowledge that every step forward is a step deeper into what God has called you to become. You are not being promoted to relax. You are being positioned to impact. The blessing comes with responsibility. And when you steward it well, more will be added, because God does not waste oil. He only anoints those who are ready to pour. So lift your head, straighten your spine, fix your gaze. The waiting season is over. The fog is lifting. The ground is shifting. The heavens are open. And God is saying now, not tomorrow, not next year. Now walk like it, pray like it, speak like it, praise like it, because your life is about to look like what your faith has always believed. The long road is about to make sense. The tears are about to water the harvest. The delay is about to turn into destiny. And in that moment when it comes, remember this truth. It was God. It was every cleared path, every divine connection, every sudden breakthrough. It was not man. It was not chance. It was God moving, God restoring, God fulfilling His word. So give Him the glory, not only with your lips, but with your life. Let your actions honor Him. Let your life mirror His nature. Let your influence always lead back to Him. And when the story is told, may it never be said that your rise came through talent, ambition, or the approval of people. Let it be known that you were lifted by the hand of God and that you remained there because you remained on your knees. You stayed in His purpose, and your heart stayed hungry for more of Him. The waiting season has ended. The doors are opening wide. The victory is unfolding, and the God who kept you hidden is now unveiling what He has been crafting all along. Every believer reaches a point where God asks not only for patience, but for transformation in the waiting. You did not merely endure those past seasons. You were being refined in them. God was shaping you even while others thought you were breaking down. They saw the outside, tired, weary, worn thin, but they could not see what God was doing within. Inside, God was constructing strength. He was instilling vision. He was building a foundation that could not be shaken. You thought you were being buried, but God was planting you. And now in His perfect time, He is bringing you out. Not as you were, but as who He created you to be. This shift that God is unleashing is not casual, not accidental. It is surgical. It is deliberate. God is targeting the very areas in your life where you have experienced the deepest pain. And He is pouring oil on those wounds. The areas where you were the weakest will become the evidence of His greatest power. He is raising you up not because you are worthy, but because you were willing. You didn't give up when it got hard. You didn't walk away when it didn't make sense. You kept your eyes on God. You kept seeking. And that faith, that quiet persistence has reached heaven. The shift has begun. You see, God doesn't need to announce His plan to your critics. He doesn't need the approval of anyone to elevate you. When He decides it's time, He acts without permission. People may look at your past and say, "You're not qualified." But God looks at your faith and says, "You're chosen." The same hands that molded the mountains are now lifting your name into spaces you never imagined. God is not promoting your image. He is releasing your calling. He is not increasing your visibility for attention, but to fulfill a divine assignment that has been written over your life since before you took your first breath. And in this moment of divine transition, the enemy will do all he can to distract you. He will whisper lies into your spirit. He will stir confusion. He will try to make you question what you know God spoke to you. But don't you listen. Don't you dare second guess what God has confirmed in your soul. The warfare is not a sign of abandonment. It is confirmation that the shift is real. The opposition proves the magnitude of what's coming. The darkness intensifies before the dawn. But God is still God in the dark. God is still moving in silence. God is still leading when the path feels hidden. Lift your faith to a higher place. Do not pray from a place of fear. Pray from a place of authority. Speak not as one uncertain, but as one aligned with the will of the Almighty. Declare His promises back to Him with boldness. Stand on His word like a rock under your feet. For when God shifts a person, He also sharpens their voice. He puts a roar in the mouth of those who once wept in silence. And that roar is not pride, it is conviction. That voice is not arrogance, it is revelation. Because when you've seen what God can do in the silence, you speak differently in the season of sudden victory. This next season is going to require you to think differently, pray differently, and walk differently. You cannot enter the next dimension with old fears. You cannot carry the weights of yesterday into the open doors of tomorrow. God is telling you to release the residue of delay, to cast off the garments of mourning, to shake off the dust of hesitation. You are not a prisoner anymore. You are not a victim anymore. You are not stuck. You are being summoned. God is calling you into movement, into impact, into purpose. And His voice is louder than every limitation that ever tried to hold you back. Don't look for validation. Look for confirmation. God doesn't always validate your process to those around you, but He will confirm it in your spirit. He will send signs in the quiet places. He will cause your heart to burn with a knowing that cannot be shaken. Trust that. Trust what God has planted deep within you. That stirring, that inner push, that persistent vision. It is not your imagination. It is revelation. It is God whispering, "Prepare yourself. The shift is now." And when that victory comes, and it will come, it won't just change your situation. It will change the atmosphere around you. It will shift how people speak to you. It will change how the enemy sees you, because suddenly you will not be known as the one who waited, but as the one whom God remembered. The one God restored. The one God raised up in power. Not by might, not by the hand of man, but by His decree. What others called impossible, God called inevitable. What others said would take years, God did in moments. That's how God works. He does not need time. He needs faith. And your faith has qualified you. Your endurance has positioned you. Your silence has built your strength. You may not feel worthy, but you are ready. Not perfect, but prepared. Not flawless, but faithful. And that is all God requires. For He does not call the equipped. He equips the called. He does not choose based on status. He chooses based on surrender. And I speak this into your spirit. The delay did not destroy you. It developed you. The detour did not defeat you. It trained you. You didn't miss your moment. It was being prepared for you all along. And now God is aligning everything, people, places, resources, timing, to meet the destiny He planted in you from the beginning. Not just a blessing, but a breakthrough. Not just progress, but transformation. Not just a shift, but a sudden and irreversible elevation. But don't get comfortable in the blessing. Stay close to God. Stay in His presence. The same God who brings the shift is the one who sustains it. You cannot afford to drift now. You cannot afford to forget who brought you here. Oh, stay humble. Stay hungry. Let your success never speak louder than your devotion. Your gain, because true victory is not found in what you receive, it's in what you become. And you are becoming someone who reflects the light of God. Someone who carries peace that surpasses understanding. Someone who walks in strength but bows in reverence. Someone who rises not to dominate, but to serve. That is what happens when God shifts a person. Not just their life changes, but their nature is transformed. You will not just be blessed, you will be a blessing. There are moments ordained by God that interrupt the rhythm of delay and usher in a wave of unstoppable purpose. These moments are not marked by earthly clocks, but by divine decree. They are not announced by the voices of men, but by the whisper of eternity into your soul. And one of those moments is upon you now. You are not stepping into something random. You are walking into something sacred. God has not just allowed you to endure, He has called you to emerge. Emerge with clarity. Emerge with strength. Emerge with the authority that only comes from having walked through the fire with your faith still intact. Do not mistake stillness for stagnation. Many assume that because they are not moving visibly, God is not working actively, but God often works most powerfully in silence. He is not interested in shallow progress. He has invested in deep transformation, and that's exactly what this waiting season has done. It has stripped you of dependence on the approval of man. It has weaned your soul off distractions. It has taught you to hear God's voice in the storm and to stand still when others ran. That kind of faith cannot be taught. It is forged, Wattel. And now God is ready to reveal what He has hidden for so long. You've been hidden not because you were unworthy, but because you were not yet finished. God was shaping you in obscurity so that when the light hits you, you would not crumble under its weight. People see the glory, but they don't know the story. They see the fruit, but they didn't witness the pruning, but God saw it all. Every sacrifice you made in silence, every time you said no to compromise, every moment you lifted your hands and said, God, I trust you. Even here, that trust has built something unshakable inside you. And now the shift has come. The waiting is being exchanged for walking. The silence is being traded for strategy. God is opening the way that no man could ever shut. You must now walk with a new level of awareness. The shift that God is releasing requires sensitivity. You cannot afford to be distracted, Rolf. You cannot afford to entertain confusion. You must walk with your ears tuned to heaven. Every step must be guided not by ambition, not by emotion, but by divine instruction. The world will offer shortcuts, platforms, praise, but you are not called to follow noise. You are called to follow the presence of God. And His presence doesn't always lead where the crowd is. Sometimes it leads you into quiet places, unfamiliar paths, dry valleys, but it always ends in victory. Your steps must be governed by surrender. Not every open door is God's door. Not every opportunity is divine. Discernment is your protection in this season. Just because the victory is coming suddenly doesn't mean you abandon caution. The same God who is releasing favor is also calling you to walk carefully, humbly, and prayerfully. Because with greater influence comes greater temptation. With greater visibility comes greater warfare. But God has not brought you this far to let you fall. Now He will shield you, strengthen you, and guide you as long as you stay submitted. This is a season where God is redeeming time. Years that felt wasted are being restored in moments. Opportunities you thought you missed are returning multiplied. God is not bound by the rules of this world. He can reverse what looks irreversible. He can build on ruin. He can bring water from a rock. He can make the barren land overflow with abundance. What looked like an ending was really a beginning in disguise. What felt like a breakdown was a setup for breakthrough. And now you will see how the pieces fit. You will see how the losses made room for something greater. You will see why God said, wait, don't let bitterness take root in this transition. You cannot carry anger, resentment, or unforgiveness into your next level. That is spiritual poison. You must release it completely, not for them, but for you. Because what God has prepared is too holy to be contaminated by old pain. The shift you are stepping into requires clean hands and a pure heart. Let go of what they did. Let go of who left. Let go of what didn't happen. God is doing something new. He is writing a new chapter. and it won't read like the last one. He is lifting you not because you deserve it, but because He is faithful. And in His faithfulness, He does not just give you what you expect. He gives you what is best. You are about to walk in places your name was never supposed to reach. People who dismissed you will have to watch as God elevates you. But your goal is not to prove them wrong. It is to prove God right. Your rise is not about revenge. It is about purpose. Let your posture remain one of gratitude. Let your heart stay bowed before the throne of the one who opened every door. Because when people see you now, they must see not just success, but the hand of God. Let your life be living proof that waiting on God is never wasted, that those who trust Him will never be disappointed, that His timing is always, always perfect. God is sending a wind fresh, fierce, and holy. It is the kind of wind that breaks down walls and lifts the weary, the kind of wind that signals movement in the realm of the Spirit. That wind is headed your way. And when it comes, things will move that haven't moved in years. Hearts will shift. Closed doors will open. Delayed dreams will awaken. The very atmosphere will respond to the command of God. And in that moment, you must not hesitate, anew. You must not doubt. You must walk through that door as if it was made just for you, because it was. This is not the time to play small. This is not the time to question your worth. God has already chosen you. He has already called you. He has already set your feet on a path that leads to greatness, not for the applause of man, but for the fulfillment of divine assignment. You are not just called to succeed. You are called to lead. And true leadership begins in the secret place, in the place of prayer, in the place where no one sees but God. That is where the shift began, and that is where the victory will be sustained. So hold your head high. Stand firm. Speak life. Walk boldly. The God who started this journey with you is not finished. He is still writing, still shaping, still unfolding the masterpiece of your life. And the part you are about to walk into this new season, this sudden victory, is not the end. It's the beginning of a legacy, a testimony, a divine manifestation of what God can do when someone refuses to give up, refuses to bow to fear, and chooses to believe even in the darkest night. This is your moment. Not because of luck, not because of coincidence, but because of God. He is the reason. He is the source. He is the author. He is the finisher. And what He has begun in your life, He will finish with glory. So now stand still and recognize this truth. God has not forgotten you. Every silent season, every tear cried in secret, every prayer uttered when no one else was watching, God heard it all. And now He is answering not with a whisper, but with a divine shift that will speak louder than any delay ever did. The waiting was not your defeat. It was your preparation. This unexpected triumph didn't come by accident. It is the fruit of your trust when trust felt impossible, of your faith when nothing added up, and of your steadfastness when leaving would have been simpler. Now is the moment God turns your mourning into momentum, and what was delayed now moves with divine speed. You're not being elevated for applause or recognition. You're being raised so His light can reach places long cloaked in darkness. When others notice the change, when they watch you rise, let every testimony point to one name, God. Let your triumph declare not your achievements, but who God has always been. Step forward now, not timid, not boastful, but with humble boldness and steady confidence in the one who is turning your season of waiting into a season of victory. From silence to song, from hiding to influence, the change is happening. The change is from heaven, and the change is here because God has spoken.